Hello and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Chris, and I am pleased to welcome you to Unity of Fredericksburg, our weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube live or later, and we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday morning experience. It includes music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Fair. And now, here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Chris, and hello, everyone. So glad to see everyone in the Zoom room with me right now, and so glad to know that there are folks out there watching on YouTube, whether you're watching now or later. Your energy is appreciated. Our broadcast date today is March the 31st. It's Easter Sunday. So much fun goes on with Easter, right? Decorated eggs and bunnies and baskets full of candy. What does it all mean? So I have a joke for you for Easter. No surprise. Lots of times I like to share a joke with you. So here we go. 3 newly departed souls arrived at the pearly gates of heaven. St. Peter tells them that they can enter the gate if they can answer one simple question. St. Peter asks the first person, "What is Easter?" They reply, "Oh, that's easy. That's the holiday in November when everybody gets together, gives thanks, and eats turkey." "Wrong," replies St. Peter and proceeds to ask the second person the same question. "What is Easter?" The second person replies, "No, no, no. Easter is the holiday in December when we put up a nice tree, exchange presents, celebrate the birthday of baby Jesus." St. Peter looks at the second person, shakes his head in disgust, looks at the third person and asks, "What is Easter?" The third person smiles confidently and says, "I know what Easter is. Easter is the Christian holiday that coincides with the Jewish celebration of Passover. In the Easter story, they keep Jesus in a cave sealed with a large boulder, and every year the stone is rolled aside so Jesus can come out. And if he sees his shadow, there'll be 6 more weeks of winter, and if he doesn't, it's time for spring." So that's it. Sorry, I got the giggles on about that. And I will confess that I actually shared that same joke last year. I just like it so much that I did it again. So, oops, I did it again. So, what is Easter? Easter is the culmination to this 40-day season of Lent that we have been practicing here at Unity of Fredericksburg. And in Unity, we spend time, what we do for Lent is spend time reflecting and letting go of old patterns in our consciousness, thoughts, feelings, attitudes, beliefs that no longer serve our highest good. And we've been using the Unity Lent booklet. Unity sends out booklets, and we've been using that as a guide. So, and we've been using those things from the Lent booklet in our meditations, and all of this has been setting a stage for rising into new levels of consciousness, setting the stage for making a change in our own life as we let go of things that aren't working for us anymore, setting a stage for change. And in our human world, change is happening all the time, right? All the time. In fact, I think the only thing that's constantly not changing is the fact that change is happening, right? So the process of letting go is intentional change, right? That's our own choice. And often change comes to us through other factors, right? The weather, other people making decisions, all these things. So, um, what remains our choice always is how we react to what's going on in our outer world, how we respond, how we frame those events happening in our lives. Because we know that our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, and attitudes, that creates our experience of our outer life. And even when those events can be seen as tragic or stressful or traumatic or even violent, it's our mindset that creates our experience. Now, today is Easter Sunday, and the Easter story from the Bible is filled with events that are tragic, stressful, traumatic, violent, and interpretations of that story are the foundations for a lot of our modern mythology, and they're also key to a lot of religious beliefs, right? But in unity, what we do is we look at the actual teachings of Jesus, his words and his actions, rather than all of those interpretations that have evolved over the centuries. So, our opportunity today is to observe Jesus. And in unity, we often will call Jesus our elder brother or our way shower. Observe him and see what he has to show us in this Easter story. And in the simplest of terms, in the story, the man, Jesus, dies in circumstances that are tragic, stressful, traumatic, violent. And then in the story, he rises again. There's a resurrection. It's a miracle in the story. It's a fabulous story. It's very inspiring. And the demonstration that he's showing us is really clear. The message that Jesus wants us to get in this story is that the spirit is not limited to the life of the human body. Spirit is not bound by this physical form that we're in, and spirit does not die when the human body dies. So, no matter what's done to the body, as in those examples of the Easter story, the spirit lives on, whole and perfect. And that's the message of Easter, plain and simple. End of talk. Done, right? But let's dive a little deeper. We know we want to dive a little deeper, right? So Jesus does come back and in a body, but it's not the same body. It's not like a human body like we are accustomed to. Now we know this, that it's not the same body that he comes back in, because there are numerous examples where his followers don't recognize him. They don't, I mean, he has to like a hey, before they recognize him. So here's a quote from a website called Walking Humbly with God. Only those who saw the risen Christ could say what he looked like, and their descriptions passed along through the Gospels indicate above all it was hard to describe. Theologians sometimes refer to Jesus's appearance as his glorified body, a state that is both physical, as in he had a body, but wonderfully transformed. So his new body was unlike other bodies and was difficult to recognize. So, with his glorified body, this body of light, Jesus shows us his true nature. And Easter is not the only time that Jesus demonstrated this lesson. So some of you will be familiar with a story from Scripture called the Transfiguration. It is included in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And in that story, Jesus takes three of his disciples up to the mountain, and there he rises up and displays his true nature as a being of light. the scripture in Matthew 17, what it says is, and he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became bright as light. So this message that the spirit is not linked or tied to or tied down in the physical body is kind of a core teaching. Jesus does this a couple of different times. And another core teaching from Jesus that he repeats more than once is that anything that he is doing, things that we can do as well. He was really clear on that. So whatever is true of Jesus's nature is also true of ours. So Jesus never presents himself as an exception, as in like the only Son of God, but as an example, as in we are all children of God. And his example is, kind of shows us how to do this, how to manage this human life. So when he shows us that his true nature is light, he shows us that our true nature is light. So first he said, I am the light of the world. And then he immediately turns it around and says, you are the light of the world. So just as he demonstrated rising out of dire circumstances, he shows us that we too have the capacity to rise out of whatever it is that we have going on in our lives. We can rise in the moment, in our focus, in our attention, in our awareness, rising out of that kind of only human mindset and into our divine nature as beings of light, as expressions of light. So, one of the wonderful tools that we have in Unity that helps us to rise in consciousness beyond the chaos of our outer world into the truth of the light is called the 12 powers. And for those of you who might be new to it, the 12 Powers is a teaching set developed by Unity founder Charles Fillmore, and it's a set of 12 attributes of God mind, of the universe, of all that is. Attributes, abilities, characteristics that we have full access to and that we express at the level of our consciousness. There's that little catch right there, at the level of our consciousness, because what that means, of course, is that if we have a poor consciousness around, say, our our power of strength or faith, then that's how we will be experiencing it because we have a poor consciousness around it. Likewise, if we make the effort to lean into a broader, deeper, more relevant consciousness around whatever of these powers, then we can express them more fully, have more awareness of them. And that's why our ongoing spiritual practice is to become more aware, to become more present. And the 12 powers are just a wonderful tool that we can use in that process. So one book that I really love for studying the 12 powers, and I know I've mentioned it before, we have studied it in the past at Unity of Fredericksburg, is Divine Audacity by Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett. And in this book, she refers to the 12 powers as 12 lights or 12 living lights. So she's talking about this concept of light, of being the light, and all of these aspects of light that we have within us. So here's a couple of quotes from her around this subject. Being the light is our moment by moment, choice by choice agreement to act from a consciousness of unity with one mind in spiritual understanding. And I'm going to flip the page, and here's one other quote. Knowing our light derives from the one mind or God and not from our personality, we can feel assured that we do not have to rely upon our human characteristics as our source. A lot of what we rely on in our day to day, of course, is in our human brain, right? Which is, our ego, our personality. And all of that, friends, comes from memory, comes from programming. So your ego, your human brain, the only solutions it's going to come up with are solutions based on previous experience or what it's heard or what, or little things tucked away in consciousness. But as we contemplate the lessons of Easter, that we are, as Jesus has shown us, we are the light of the world. We are expressing goodness at the point of us. We are capable of rising above outer circumstance, what's going on in our outer worlds, into a consciousness of abiding truth. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. I have a set of wonderful affirmations from a minister named Reverend Kelly Isola, and there's one affirmation for each one of the 12 powers. So in a moment here, I'm going to ask Jason to bring up the slideshow, because what I would like to ask you all to do at home, keep your microphones off so we don't get a lot of reverb going on, is we're going to go through each one of these 12 powers and recite these affirmations. And this is all about, this whole process of Lent and Holy Week. We have been letting go of old ways of being and opening ourselves up to a new way of being. And for you, that might be something big. It might be something small, right? It might just be a change in how you do your daily life, or it might be something really big, like contemplating a big move from one place to another, or whatever it is you have going on in your life. These affirmations kind of help us sort of link into those spiritual powers that are inherent. They are a part of us, a part of who we are and how we function. And of course, our consciousness, the level of understanding we have, the level of connection we have with all of these, that is what kind of creates our experience. So again, if you have a really limited thought about your own personal power, then that's going to be how you experience it in the world. But what we are always striving to do, and as we use the 12 powers, is to open up to a greater awareness. So we're going to go through these affirmations, and then from there, we're going to go directly into our time of meditation. So as we get these going, just read them along with me from where you are. And like I said, then we will go into our time of meditation. Okay, Jason, we're ready for the slide set. All right, so this first power is our power of faith. Read this with me, friends. We acknowledge our gift of faith to the world, the gift that expresses divinely through our oneness of humanity. Next, strength. We acknowledge our gift of spiritual strength to the world, the gift of our patience and steadfastness in truth. Next slide. Wisdom. We acknowledge our gift of wisdom to the world, the gift that shines as the light from within, illuminating our way in life. Next slide. Love. We acknowledge our gift of love to the world, the gift that comes from our hearts and minds, flowing freely to bless all. Next slide. Power. We acknowledge our gift of power to the world, the gift that creates only good in our lives with every word of truth spoken. Next slide. Imagination. We acknowledge our gift of imagination to the world, the gift that dreams divine ideas into healthy, prosperous, peaceful, and joyous experiences. Next up, understanding. We acknowledge our gift of understanding to the world, the gift that gives us the ability to apply divine law in our world. Next slide. Will. We acknowledge our gift of will to the world, the gift that knows there are infinite possibilities available for expressing our good in any situation. Next slide. Order. We acknowledge our gift of order to the world, the gift that is in tune with the infinite. Our gift of order establishes itself as perfect peace in our lives. Next slide. Zeal. We acknowledge our gift of zeal to the world, the gift that bursts forth, bringing everlasting joy everywhere we go. Next slide. Release. We acknowledge our gift of release to the world, the gift that is establishing a new, fresh, wonderful world for everyone in our lives. Next slide. Life. We acknowledge our gift of life to the world, the gift that gives awareness of purpose and revitalizing energy to every creation on earth. So now, friends, we are moving into our time of meditation. We're continuing with the 12 powers. So take a deep breath right here. Feel the breath moving into the body. Feel the body in the seat. And bring your attention to your seat in the chair, wherever it is you're sitting. Or to put it in a little more spiritual framework, bring your attention to your root chakra. So right there in your seat, focus on the front side of your body. And here, my friends, is where the power of life resides in your body. The color for the power of life is red, and it represents that wholeness, that vitality of life that bubbles up through every circumstance. Just feel that color, feel that power of life right here, right now. Now shift your attention, just moving it back to the back side of your body. And here, quite naturally, is the location for the power of release. And the color for the power of release, again, quite naturally, is a russet brown color. So here is the space in which our body very wisely lets go of everything that we don't need anymore. And so that's where that energy of release is for us in the body as well. So just feel that energy. We've been practicing a lot of letting go through the season of Lent. Just feel that energy of letting go, releasing, happening right now. And then gently move your focus upward to the lower back. The lower back is the seat of your power of strength. Ah, feel it there, like the vertebrae, right? The color is a light green like the new shoots of a spring flower, right? And this is not a hard kind of strength. This is a flexible strength that shifts with the outer tides but holds steady. Just feel that energy of strength in your body right here, right now. Now shift your attention towards the front of your body to your belly. This would be kind of behind the navel, a little bit lower. This right here, my friends, is the seat of your power of order. And the color here is a dark green that reveals to us our next best steps in all circumstances. And it's from here in the gut that we have that sense of whether something is the best step for us or whether we should hold back. That wisdom of order is right there in the belly. Feel it there. Now we shift our attention up through our core to the solar plexus. And the solar plexus, my friends, is the seat of the power of wisdom. The color here is a bright yellow, kind of like the yellow of a highlighter. What our power of wisdom does is helps us with discernment, being able to feel from that level of discernment whether something is the right thing or the wrong thing for us. Right here, feel it right there. Feel it as the breath moves in and out of your body. Sense that color and that energy. Now we move our focus up to the heart space. No surprise here, friends. This is the location of your power of love. And the color is pink. A wonderful, healthy, happy color. Our power of love is well beyond the emotion of affection for another. This is our power that helps us to harmonize with our good ideas, to unify with that which is ours, and to magnify, to draw us forward into what is ours to do. So just feel that energy of love right there in your heart space. We shift our energy, our focus upward now to the throat. Right here in the throat is the location of our power of mastery, also called our power of power. And the color is purple. And here is where the energy is of our word. Because the truth of what we are is expressed through the power of our word, right? And as we speak words of truth, truth in divine mind, we feel that energy right there in the throat chakra. Now we shift our attention to the back of the head, right where the spine comes up into the skull, right there. That, my friends, is the location of your power of zeal. Ah, It's like the base of the brain, the sparking center for ideas and activity and enthusiasm. And the color here is orange. Ah, orange is absolutely the color for zeal, right? There's an energy, a passion to it, kind of a fiery get up and go about it. And just feel that. Feel that right there. Now we're going to bring our attention to the front of the head, right between the eyes. Right between the eyes, my friends. You might want to give it a little tap. That's what I'm doing. Right here resides our power of imagination. And it's right there on the outside, too. Right there on the outside, because our power of imagination is that capacity to dream, to envision, to tap into elements that are beyond the memory programming of our brain and our ego, and to tap into divine ideas. The color there is a light blue, like the color of the sky. Just imagine that that's sort of the access point. As you focus there, you can connect with divine ideas that have never lived inside your brain before. Right there, power of imagination. Now we move upward just a little bit to the forehead, kind of go in a little bit deeper in your mind, the forebrain. We have a pair of powers right here. The first one, power of understanding, and the color is gold. So that's it's beyond a color, right? Imagine a metal, the metal of gold, the shiny, deep understanding of truth is right there in that gold color. And the understanding we're talking about here is the understanding of truth within yourself and the understanding of truth within others. That's where we find compassion. Because as we see others in truth, that power of understanding is gleaming and golden. Right next to it, its partner is the power of will. And of course, being the partner to gold, what is the color? The color is silver. Silver. And the power of will is sometimes called our executive power, because this is our power to make a choice and move into action, to lead our consciousness forward. So the will kind of listens to all of the other powers, takes its messages from how we feel in the heart, how our wisdom is speaking to us, and our understanding, and it comes together, and it's like silver, like the blade of a sword, and we move into clear, clean action. Behind those powers and slightly a little bit higher in the head, getting really close, right next door to that crown chakra, is the last power we're talking about today, our power of faith. Feel it there, filling that headspace. The color of the power of faith is a royal blue. And this, my friends, is our ability to believe with confidence, to have conviction, and to believe beyond all of the data and memory and programming information of the brain, believe beyond what our human senses tell us, to the truth that we know. That sense of knowing right there in that power of faith. So we're going to take a moment now and just reflect, feel all that energy, all of those colors. And we're going to move into our time of silence, or I like to call it stillness, together, just reflecting on this, being in this divine space where you can feel all of these divine capacities within you. Let's move into the stillness together, right here, right now. And as we begin to bring our focus back to this current moment, back to this very human body in the seat, we carry through with us this knowing that just as the example given to us by our elder brother Jesus in the Easter story and beyond that, that we are light. Beyond these physical bodies, we are bodies of light. And as we rise in our consciousness into that awareness and remind ourselves, we are blessed. We are a blessing, and we are expressions of goodness in this world. So we're going to close our meditation time as we always do with an affirmation. And I like to put my hand right on my heart space so that I can feel it in my body and my heart is reminded, and I'm not just floating around with a bunch of ideas in the ethers. I'm right here with this affirmation. Here it is. As I rise, I am the light of the world, and I am grateful. Say it with me, friends. There's kind of three phrases there, but I think you've got it. As I rise, I am the light of the world, and I am grateful. Let's do it one more time. As I rise, I am the light of the world, and I am grateful. So it is. I'm grateful for having all of you here today. And that's it for me. I'm going to hand it back to my friend Chris.
Oh, thank you so much, Reverend Cheryl, for that and that wonderful meditation today. And everyone, thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation. Support our ministry with your financial donations. Thanks again for watching, and see